what you're about to experience will blow your mind.
Or just leave you thinking, what the hell are they talking about?
Hi, and welcome to tonight's broadcast of the M Cluster. I'm Slider, I'm your host, and with me as usual are Brandon.
How you guys doing?
And we've got Tyrone.
What's up?
And got something interesting that's going on with Tyrone. I understand you're doing a diet.
Yeah, I recently watched a movie called Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead, and I just wanted to try out the juice diet that was mentioned in the movie and such like that. So for the past week now, I haven't had any solid foods and been drinking water, vegetable juice, and fruit juice primarily. So
you haven't seen the movie that was Fat, Dead, and Nearly Happy?
No. That's I think that's actually a documentary of my life. So no, but right now I'm drinking stuff like this green thing, which looks weird and terrible.
It's weird.
Pretty good. You could really enjoy the algae and the wheatgrass in it.
That sounds awesome.
It is.
It makes me want to have it.
You know.
You lie.
I'll save you some.
But I don't think I could because I can't afford to lose any weight as it is.
Well, I mean, it was not really about losing weight. It's pretty much about getting the nutrients that you weren't getting before. So I guess that's what it's all about. Like a side effect is, I'm losing weight because I'm not consuming enough calories.
So wait, hold on a second. If it's all about consuming nutrients that you weren't consuming before, why couldn't you just drink it and eat stuff you like?
I could. That's very possible. But also, like, I just wanted to see how it was. How these people that averaged about 3,000 calories a day drop down to something that's less than 1,000 calorie. I just want to explore and just see how it goes. I mean, I really wanted to go through the process of the suffering that my body was going through, which that's the only reason I wanted to do it.
So you're into suffering? That's your thing?
Yes, I am. I was a service member for 10 years, and of course.
How often are you going to the bathroom?
Not that often. I urinate a lot since I'm drinking a lot of liquids. But as far as defecation, if you want to go there, the first day I think twice, and after that, it's steady once a day. And we have a visitor.
Hey, somebody's hopped into our chat here.
How's it going today?
All right. So that wasn't supposed to happen. Is this your first time watching the show?
Yes, it is. I think my friend Brandon will recognize who I am.
Hey, what's up, Bryce?
How's it going?
Apparently, we broadcast the wrong link.
Yeah, that's happened once or twice before.
So we're going to go ahead and push through and hope for the best.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess we'll do that.
So, Bryce, would you mind muting your microphone if you would?
Sure thing.
Okay, and just if you have any questions, just give us a wave, and we'll see if we can accommodate you.
Not a problem.
All right, so this week's movie that we're discussing is Limitless, and that was Tyrone's pick. So we're going to go ahead and let Tyrone lead us into this discussion.
Limitless is actually masquerading as a feel-good movie, but it's quite it's actually the personal manifesto of Neil Berger, in which it kind of explains the plight of the 21st century individual, creating a utopian state of mind in which Eddie Moore, he's portrayed by Bradley Cooper goes about his journey of turning his life around.
Huh. That's funny because it seems like in the bar he gives that same explanation of what his book is, and nobody bought it there, so I'm not buying it now.
Yeah, I know. I'm just thought I'd tie that in there. No, it's actually it's a movie about what would you do? What would you do if you instantly had the power to change your life around? What would you do if you could do whatever you really wanted to do?
Okay, and how did they go about doing that?
Well, someone developed a pill, NTZ, that unlocks all the receptors in the brain, and struggling writer Eddie Mora meets up with his ex-brother-in-law and gets a sense of the pill. So he takes the pill, and we follow him through this journey of him stopping this self-defeating cycle down and changing his life around.
Okay, but if he's doing it using a drug, isn't that kind of invalidating? I mean, he's not doing anything; the drug's doing it.
Well, it's his memories and his past experiences and his choices.
It also increases just your own intelligence. I mean, it starts out, it's the guy said at the beginning, it makes you smarter, and it works better when you're already smart.
Yeah, so the name of the drug is NTZ48, if I don't remember, or NZT48, whatever. But it's quite interesting just seeing the choices that he makes when he really has the freedom to do what he likes.
Okay, and give us some examples.
Well, I mean, first of all, he starts. He's smarter now. He can. His own intelligence is enhanced. So one of the first things to do, he makes math fun. He starts playing. He starts gambling, and then what's the ultimate form of gambling? The stock market. So he starts playing the stock market, but that's too slow. So he needs more money, but who is gonna lend him? Who's gonna give him the money he needs? Well, he goes to a loan shark, which is probably not the smartest idea, but he's being impatient. That's something that the drug does. It makes you you can't stay dirty on it. It's just what you want to do, you know what you need to do, and you try to find the most efficient way to do it. So even if it's a shady way, he needed more money, so he went to a loan shark, and that's the biggest conflict. Along with the drug is actually detrimental to his health and is actually killing him.
Well, it's interesting that you say it makes him smarter, and then he goes to a loan shark in order to get the funding for whatever he's trying to do. Well, he doesn't sound very smart.
Well, he's so assured of himself. He's so confident. He's so self-confident in himself that he doesn't see as a problem. He doesn't see. He's not, and he's also. It's based on your past experiences. I don't think he's dealt with loan shark before.
He had no other way to do it.
Yeah, so he felt he had no other way to do it through his experiences. So he went ahead and just did, he picked up a short-term loan. So he didn't really, since he hadn't dealt with that before, he didn't know how to deal with it again. So that was new. So
it sounds to me like it doesn't make you any smarter, which was kind of the comment I was going to make. I'm talking like I haven't seen the movie. But it just enhances what you've already got. It gives you access to what's already locked up in your brain. So it's not a matter of whether or not it makes you smarter or not.
It does make you smarter because I mean, he even said I believe at the very beginning of the movie, his IQ now was in the quadruple digits.
Yeah, he had a 4-digit IQ because he was able to access all the information that he already had
quicker than you would have before.
Yes, but again, not making you smarter. Okay, that's just taking the information.
If you can think through things quicker, how does that not make you smarter?
That just makes.
Well, right now you're trying to define what smartness is and what that is. I mean,
well, when you look at someone's IQ, it determines your capacity and your ability to think through things. beforehand he couldn't have done those things. So it did enhance his intelligence to where he could work out more problems.
So your intelligence is the speed at which you can work problems out, not your ability to work them out?
Well, it's a little bit of
It's both.
So it's something like, what's your definition of intelligence? If you want to get technical.
My definition of intelligence would be the ability to assimilate and process the information. I don't think it really has much to do with how fast you do it. If that were the case,
okay, so if you tell someone a joke and they stare at you for 5 seconds, and then you move on, and they start laughing after 5 seconds, you would consider that person very intelligent, because no matter how long it takes them to process information, they process it correctly.
Intelligence and being slow are two different things. Someone who
you said no matter the time.
Yes, being considered slow does not make you unintelligent.
It just makes the appearance of it.
It may give you a handicap. It may give you, you have problems dealing with everyday situations, but that does not subtract from your intelligence in any way, shape, or form.
But, I mean, just the appearance of it, right? It just changes the appearance of it.
Correct.
That's why it says...
well, I looked up the definition.
It works better if you're already smarter.
All right, let's hear it.
All right, so the first definition of intelligence is the capacity for learning, reasoning, understanding, and similar forms of mental activity, aptitude in grasping truths, relationships, facts, meanings, etc.
Okay, so that has nothing to do with how long it takes you to do it.
The aptitude, yeah. I mean, but it doesn't, we're not really debating whether or not him going to a long shark was a bonehead move or not, because it really was. Because all he had to do was be patient and wait.
Right.
It made him smarter, but I'm not sure if it made him wiser.
He didn't want to wait the amount of time it would have taken to do it through the amount of money that he had to start with.
Really, because he was doubling and tripling his money. So so when he was doubling and tripling his money, he just could have waited 2 more days, and then he would have got the $100,000 that he needed. I mean, it just, working in an exponential form, that money would have shot up very quickly. And I mean, it just set him back 2 days instead of having to deal with this low life.
Right.
I mean,
but what I'm trying to get at is, we're saying that it's making him more intelligent. If he were more intelligent, he wouldn't have made that bonehead move.
No. That's his own personal choice.
So he chose to be stupid? Is that what you're saying?
He chose to be impatient. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. Okay, so, we're talking about his ability to process and the information that he was using. I think the line that best states it, Brandon, is when he's talking to the landlord's wife, and he says, not only do I have access to this information, but I'm able to serve it up in a wonderful cocktail of meaning. So basically, he can use that information wisely.
Okay. But, yeah. So, what else did you like about the movie? I really liked how the characters were portrayed, especially Robert De Niro's character. I thought that was really good.
Yeah, Robert De Niro's character was used pretty well. I like how they brought him in after the fact, which obviously just kind of gels with the story. But we have him with his meteoric rise from obscurity to this Wall Street giant in a very short amount of time, and then we have the big corporate giant who comes in and wants to take advantage of that situation.
Yeah. So how'd you feel how his character Bob De Niro was how did you feel it lent to the story or take away from the story?
Oh, it definitely didn't take away from the story. I mean, he was a main character. He was part of what drove the actions that Eddie Morrow was taking once he got to that level. So in no way do I think it detracted from the way he was doing things, or the story at all. But what I did enjoy was that he felt he was on the same level as Eddie, and ultimately we find out that that's not the case. Actually, I take that back, because what we find out is he puts him in his place, but it turns out that what he tells him when he puts him in his place simply isn't true.
Wait, which part?
At the very end of the movie, when he's running for senator,
Yeah.
and he's going to have this meeting with one of his sponsors, he finds out it's Robert De Niro. So when they walk outside, Robert De Niro basically says, "I own you. I will, bury you if you don't do the things that I want you to do." And he says that I'm off the drug, even though my labs are closed, and we have, I've found a way around it. And then when he goes to the restaurant to meet his girlfriend or fiancée, I'm not really sure which at that point, what we find out is that he doesn't, he is actually on the drug, or they insinuate he's still on the drug, that he's still using, and that's how the movie closes.
How did they insinuate it?
Yeah, because the movie closed that he found a way to get off the drug, but still
That it still enhanced him.
Yeah, maintain some of the things that left him with.
That's what he said, but when he sits down to lunch with his girlfriend, and he speaks to the waiter in whatever language it is that he's speaking, she looks
Mandarin.
at him, and, okay, Mandarin's fine.
I thought it was the look that she gave him when they met again in the restaurant earlier in the movie, where he spoke whatever language was French, and she looked at him like, when did you learn that? It's just more of a look like, really, like you had to learn another language again.
Oh, I don't know. I think I got the impression that because he looks at her and just goes, "What?" Like there was something going on that he wasn't telling her, and she was trying to figure out what it was. She already knew he had this ability at this point, so the surprise at him pulling this again was, I think it was a little more meaningful than just, it's like, oh, you're being a showboat.
Well, I think they would have elaborated more if he wasn't off the drug, because if he was still on the drug, it's fine that he lied to Robert De Niro, but then he should have been more concerned with the fact that his lab is shut down and he doesn't have any.
I mean, even if his lab was shut down, being on the drug for such a long time, because a year has passed, Yeah,
he said it. Don't you think it changes your synapses?
Yeah. So I mean, he was changed by it, and he was able to wean himself off and actually fix the drug, and he's just left with the residuals.
I think that the usage of that scene was a device by the author to leave that open-ended question. I think that's open for interpretation. I don't think it was just a blanket absolute that he was off the drug because he said.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you because the possibilities are limitless.
But bumps.
Ha ha.
So how do you think he dealt with stopping his downward spiral? Like he was on a downward spiral before he he got the drug. He was a writer that couldn't write. He lost his longtime girlfriend. He was about to lose his apartment, and he was just on a downward spiral. So.
Okay. And so your question is, how do I feel about the way he dealt with it once he was on the drug?
Yeah. No. Well, I mean, like how he was dealing with it while he was, swirling around, and then once he was in drug, he popped out of it. But like, I guess what I'm trying to ask is, how would you deal with it?
Well, when he was in his downward spiral, I could actually relate. There have been many times that I've been in situations where I knew I could do certain things. I knew I had the capacity to accomplish them, but I just never brought it to fruition. I never found the motivation. I never found the drive to get these things done. So that I found him in that state to be a very relatable character from my personal experience. Once he got on the drug and started turning his life around, I felt that he was kind of like a kid who found a gun. He was irresponsible with it. I mean, the first thing he used it for was to bed his landlord's wife, which is, kind of a comedy element to it, a little, kind of fuck you to the man kind of thing. But, he continued to do that, and I'm not saying I wouldn't, but but it wasn't the most effective use of his time, and then he eventually figures that out. And that's when he's like, oh, I could do this for other things. And that's when he starts developing a plan. And that plan involved day trading and so on and so forth. And, what we find him doing then is actually trying to accomplish a goal, whereas before that, he was just kind of, just toying around. And one thing I think is interesting about, now that I think about it, is when he was having the side effects of the drug, where he would go into this almost like dementia state where he would lose hours of his day, we see him go back to that behavior.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The part where he loses track of time is what his ex-wife was saying. No one can operate at that level for too long without adverse effects. Like, he was taking more and more drugs. He was forgetting to eat. He was drinking more alcohol. And he was just feeling the effects, and his brain was running on autopilot, yet shutting down his consciousness. So I thought that was very interesting, how he did regress to that earlier state, because like before he had a plan. He was going through the motions to make his plans into fruition. But when his brain was shutting down, he went back to his childish instincts and such.
Okay. All right, Brendan, we've heard some of your interpretation on the film, but what was your overall meaning? Did you go ahead and continue this discussion? Just step away for a moment.
Well, overall, I really liked the movie. I actually kind of wish the drug was real, because that would be amazing to even just be able to operate at that mental capacity. Some of the things that you could figure out. And solutions to things that you may, that may be going on.
Yeah, well, what would you do with it? Like, what would you personally do?
I don't know. I mean, like, I guess
that's really the point, is that you don't know. Because if you had the drug, you would then know what you wanted to do, what your desires.
I would hope that I keep my personality, which means that I would actually try to stay out of politics, because I don't like politics at all.
Yeah, but it's not.
So I wouldn't want to go his route and be like, the president.
Yeah, that was his route. That's the way he thought he could change what needed to be changed. But for me, I'm not sure that I'd be a benefit to society if I had that drug. Because like, what would I do? What would I do with it?
I would probably get into more technology type things and invent a lot.
You can do it. You can do that now, though.
I don't have the capacity for it now.
Oh, I mean, there's things that you can, if you want to learn more about it, you can just
that's true, but let's say, if I want to go from doing what I do now to all of a sudden, actually creating technology, that would take a long time. This would allow me to do that in a very short amount of time.
Creating technology. It just starts with an idea, and then you go find someone that can help you create that idea. Like,
it's not that easy.
Well, I mean,
if it was that easy, why aren't there millions of people doing it? Everyone would be.
They're just not everyone's successful.
That's my point. To be successful at it is, I'll come up with this idea, but it could already be in use.
No, I mean, you don't know until you try. I think was it Dalai Lama that said you have to be the change you want to see in the world. that's the whole point about the drug. Drug makes you want to try. It gives you that drive, that motivation to want to do, and not just, let it happen.
So was His Holiness the Dalai Lama on NZT?
Well, probably. He's on a different plane of existence, a different enlightenedness, But, I mean, that's what a lot of... You only hear about, either great failures or great successes. There's only two ways to, live forever. Write something worth reading or do something worth writing about. So it's like...
Okay. So, I see what you're saying. So, I think we all agree that it's a pretty interesting story.
Well,
and
I badgered Brandon about this, but what would you do if you were on it?
Well, like I said, I probably would have taken advantage of it when it comes to getting certain things that I want. But I'd also try to solve all my problems. I would hope that I would have the common sense to not do what he did. I would try to not be noticed. Once you're on the radar, people start trying to figure out who you are and what you're doing. So I can't say that I wouldn't try to work on it or try to do some of the things that, or that I wouldn't try to do some of the things that he did. I would hope that my intelligence level as it is, before it is enhanced, would be enough to say, hey, do this right and, don't get into this mess. Also, I guess it's kind of a morality tale from that respect, because if I did come across this, I've already got an example of what not to do.
Mm-hmm. So you feel that that his personal choices actually held him back a little bit?
No, his personal choices held him back a lot.
Of course. Because you wouldn't have a movie if everything was all...
exactly.
Well, I mean, if you could have the drug, I mean, like I was telling him that I wouldn't go into politics, because I would at least hope that I would keep some of my personality, because I don't like politics right now. It's not something that I would want to get into, I don't think. I'm not going to try to go for president.
But there's other ways of doing making a mass effect. I mean,
What would you do with it?
What would I do with it? I'd take over the world.
And how would you accomplish that? Would you become sort of, political leader?
Maybe not political, but take over the world, in my respect, in my own way. It's what would I do? Man, I would actually focus on what I really wanted, which right now is kind of unsure and unclear. But it's hard to.
Part of what the drug does, it gives you focus.
Yeah, it gives you focus. It makes you. It gives you a point and makes you walk to it. Like if you want to learn, a different language, you just do it. Like how easy is it? Well, what do you need?
He learned it in what, a day?
Oh, and it doesn't maybe not take a day, but still the drive is there. It could take a year, but then why not?
I'm saying that he only spent, he learned 2 different languages, and I believe the first time he did it, it was overnight.
Oh, well, he could learn a language by half hearing into a conversation and become fluent with it. And that's what it does. It just unlocks and lets you connect the words and the connected meanings and stuff like that. He could learn a language in a day. For me, if it would take me a little longer.
All right. Well, so like I said, it's obviously a pretty interesting story. There's a lot of different ways we can go with it. But I want to talk a little bit about the actual making of the film itself. I think the way they told the story was really, really effective. You didn't just see the character going through these issues. What you saw was them using his narration to give you a fuller picture of what you were seeing on the screen. And they used cinematography to show the effects of the drug itself that really enhanced the storytelling. Like the scene where he starts to sit down and write his book and the letters are literally falling from the sky. I just think that's a wonderful, wonderful scene. on the part of the cinematographer, the director. I mean, they just made really good choices in the way they made the film.
I really enjoyed when the scene where when he first takes the drug, he starts walking up the stairs, and everything, his whole perception of the world changed around him. And since we're seeing it through his eyes,
colors are brighter.
Yeah, everything, his colors were brighter. He could hear the spokes on the bicycle, and just like the room lit up for him, and his face lit up, and you could just see a visible change, which was very, very interesting.
Well, I thought it was a powerful way of showing that he had this epiphany, a drug-induced epiphany, but an epiphany nonetheless. So it was not just his actions or what was happening on the screen. It was everything around him, everything he was experiencing, and they allowed us to experience it by making those subtle gestures with the cinematography.
Yeah, the choices with the way the film was made was very good. I really enjoyed it. It's not distracting like sometimes it could be, but it was really impressive.
Yeah, and Bradley Cooper is really just growing on me when it comes to an actor. I've seen him in several films, and I've never disliked him, but I think this is one film that I really, really enjoyed his performance. I cannot envision someone else playing that character.
Yeah, I think when we were talking earlier in the week, you said like Shia LaBeouf was about to play this character, and I thought that would have been just the wrong choice.
Yes, and luckily for us, he was the choice. He was not trying to be this character. They picked him. They started filming. He injured himself and had to bow out.
Okay.
So.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so we're the beneficiaries of a lucky accident.
Yeah.
Well, you never know. I mean, even Shia LaBeouf might surprise you. I mean, he has this upcoming movie where he's a bootlegger.
He's a moonshiner.
Moonshiner.
Yeah, and that's not really drawing my attention all that much.
Yeah, all I'm going to do is remember him in The Holes. I'm not sure if you've seen that film when he was much younger. It's not going to... I don't think it's going to translate well. My
favorite performance of his was in Constantine, where he was the sidekick.
Yeah, he did good there.
And I'm not saying he's done poorly in all of his other movies, but he's never really impressed me.
Yeah, in iRobot he was pretty decent, but he had a small part.
Right.
So, I mean, I don't dislike him. I just don't... I'm just waiting for him to grow as an actor.
Yeah. And I think the supporting characters all did pretty well, too. The woman that played his ex-wife, Anna Friel. They showed her at the beginning, and they showed her in a very positive light because she was on the drug, and then when they showed her after she had gotten off the drug, you saw the effects of how it, what it actually did to you. And then, of course, you got Robert De Niro, who just, anything he does is magic. I mean, even in The Golden Compass, which I thought was kind of a silly movie, he played the gay pirate doing a can-can dance. I thought that was awesome.
That wasn't Golden Compass.
No, that was
Stardust.
Stardust, yes, that's absolutely correct. Thank you for correcting me. So Golden Compass, Stardust, it's all the same crap. But
that is not the same. Damn it, not the same at all.
But at any rate, I thought everyone did well in that movie, and I think we could just go on and on about little topics in that. But unfortunately, we don't have an unlimited amount of time. If you guys like to stick around after we're done broadcasting, we could do a post-show talk if you'd like to do that.
So what's the next one we're going to talk about?
Well, that's what we're getting at. So we're going to get Dante here in just a moment. And we have Dante.
Should get him a dress or a hat or something.
I know. Better look good in a hat. What do we got? N36. So we have N36. Let's see what that correlates to.
Star Trek.
There we go. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, this is a special one because this is Dante's choice.
Oh, there we go.
So you know what that means. Next week, Dante has to participate in the conversation. We get to hear Dante's voice in an official capacity when we're discussing Memento.
Oh, Memento. I thought that film was quite forgettable, actually.
I have never heard of it, so I'm going to have to watch it.
Okay, we'll have to get that squared. As a matter of fact, I think we have it here. If you want to grab a copy.
So, all right. Anything else?
Closing thoughts on it? Overall, well acted, well made, well told story. I really enjoyed it. I recommend to people that they watch it if they haven't seen it. It was a good time. It was well worth the effort of watching it, and I've seen it more than once, and I'll probably see it again.
Same here. I really enjoyed it. Just the whole ride is really a movie that you can just put on and just enjoy the journey it takes you in. And also you can, put it on and have it playing in the background because it just gives a good ambiance.
Brandon?
Kind of basically what I said earlier. I enjoyed the movie very much. Just like you guys, I will probably see it again. Just even for just some of the effects that they showed, like you were mentioning with the cinematography, it was just very well put together. I enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing Memento.
All right, so that's our time for this week. And as always, remember, we are the M Cluster. You can reach us on Facebook.com, www.facebook.com/the M Cluster. We're on Google+. You can search for us as the M Cluster. We're on Twitter. You can follow us at the M Cluster. You can send us an email to themcluster@gmail.com, or you can even give us a phone call at our phone number on our website. If you want to ask any questions, anyone you want to, if you saw last week's segment, we've got a new thing. We've got Ask Dante, where you can ask Dante any question you want in any fashion. It could be from the ridiculous to the complex. And if Dante chooses your question, he'll answer it in a segment for you. So we're going to go ahead and knock this up. We, again, are the M Cluster, and that's a wrap. Guy Pearce does a wonderful job portraying the lead role of Leonard. He uses his skill, charm, and drive to make a very believable character. Carrie-Anne Moss portrays a wonderfully manipulative character. It's even been said that she prepared for this role since birth. Joe Pantoliano portrays Leonard's sidekick, who is marvelously suspicious throughout the entire film. Impressively, Christopher Nolan sets the tone for his career, as this film is early on in his writer-director experience. Ultimately, this film is a wonderful example of good writing, good acting, and all-around good production. On the surface, this film is an entertaining jaunt as we follow Leonard on the adventure that is his daily life. On a deeper level, this film is a study of what defines us. Leonard sums up this question best when he says,
I have to believe in a world outside my own mind. I have to believe that my actions still have meaning, even if I can't remember them. I have to believe that when my eyes are closed, the world's still there. Do I believe the world's still there? Is it still out there? Yeah.
Oh, and there is also a major plot twist, which you'll have to see for yourself if you want to know what it is. Along the way, we meet the twisted Natalie and the manipulative Teddy, characters who use Leonard's condition to maneuver and operate Leonard as if he were a puppet with no regard for Leonard himself. Interestingly, the outcomes for the characters using him are very, very different. This film is a wonderful example of creative storytelling at its finest. We begin at the end of the story and work our way back to the beginning, all the while Interspersed throughout the film is a narrative that's going forward. We see our lead character, Leonard, go through a series of remembering sessions in which he reminds himself of his condition and the task at hand. We also get to see how he deals with people in his daily life whom he has no memory of dealing with. Through his interactions, we learn about his condition, which is in fact anterograde amnesia. He reminds himself of an anterograde amnesia sufferer he came across as an insurance adjuster. He repeatedly tells the story of Sammy Jenkins and the mistakes he made in order to not repeat them himself. Imagine waking up to find you don't know where you are, and the last thing you remember is the death of your wife. As you work your way into consciousness, you realize you have tattooed messages to yourself all over your body to indicate that you are on a mission to avenge your wife. This is the picture we are met with in the opening of Memento, the 2000 film directed by Christopher Nolan. And now, it's time for another episode of Ask Dante. This week, Amina Marks asks, as Hollywood goes overboard on remakes and reboots, what movie would you like to see remade? Why, and with which actors?
Dear Amina, normally I don't think about what movies there might be. Sometimes I have brief moments of, oh, that would be a really good scene in a spoof movie, or that'd be a great line in a buddy comedy or something like that, but never actually like a whole movie that might actually be. So this question was actually a bit of a tough one. Since you used the word overboard, I couldn't help but think of Jaws, and the more I thought about it, I realized, hey, that's my answer. It's been almost 40 years, it's due. Why Jaws? Why not? There's a whole generation of beachgoers that aren't living in fear of a great white shark. Is this the kind of world we want to live in? Like, I don't. As for which actors, we'd need the best we currently have available. Channing Tatum would replace Roy Schneider. That captain of the ship, Robert Shaw, his role, he'd be replaced by Shia LaBeouf. And Richard Dreyfuss's character would be played by Jet Li. That woman that does that famous slap, that'd have to be Betty White, of course. I mean, that's just no question. And everybody else would be played by famous musicians trying to break into the acting scene. Even though you didn't ask me about directors, I'm going to just throw that in there anyway. The perfect director to lead this inevitable cinematic masterpiece would be the one and only Gabriel Muccino. You know, the guy that directed 7 Pounds and The Pursuit of Happiness. Though he's known for handling movies that revolve around deep relationships and internal struggle, I have it on good authority that his capabilities with adventure and special effects are amazing. We can't go with an unknown like last time. That's just not a good idea. I mean, when has that ever gone well? So there you have it. The best new old movie that could possibly be the Jaws remake.